Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Live to 110 podcast. My name is Wendy Myers of MyersDetox.com. And today I'm so honored to interview Dr. Joe Mercola of Mercola.com. He's become a friend of mine. He allowed me to travel to Florida to his home and interview him in his home. This is a very special, intimate interview I had with Dr. Mercola about the importance of detoxification. And this is a perfect topic to be publishing and talking about today because I have my upcoming The Heavy Metal Summit that you can register for free and online at theheavymetalsummit.com. And Dr. Joe Mercola is a speaker on that, talking about EMF and how it impacts your body's ability to detox, and how when you have heavy metals in your body, you attract more EMF or electromagnetic fields. And this is what he talks about a little bit. He touches on it in our talk today and on the Heavy Metal Summit. So I'm so excited. We interviewed 40 experts on detoxification from around the world's foremost experts for the Heavy Metal Summit. And I did this, I was co-hosting with Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt and Dr. Christine Schaffner. And it was such an honor to interview Dr. Chris Shade and Dr. Ben Lynch and so many other experts on detoxification. So please join me free and online at theheavymetalsummit.com. My interviewee today, Dr. Joseph Mercola, is a passionate advocate of natural medicine. I admire him so much because he's a wellness champion and a visionary who has succeeded in implementing much needed changes in our current healthcare system. He is also a New York Times bestselling author, and after 25 years as a physician to thousands of patients, Dr. Mercola merged his passion for health and his interest in technology to create Mercola.com. Today, it's the #1 natural health website in the world, educating and empowering millions of subscribers to take control of their health. So, Dr. Mercola, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, it's great to be here. Great to have you over here, actually.
Yeah. So, detoxification is an incredibly important aspect of anyone's health regime.
Absolutely.
Can you talk to us about some of the problems with toxins in our environment today?
Well, I should be asking you that question because, this is one of your focuses and concentration, and I'm generally aware of it, and there's no question that's an issue. I know that we have a pervasive exposure to it that seems to be getting worse because it's part of the artifact of living in an industrial society that we have these synthetic chemicals that provide a lot of benefit, but they certainly have with their toxins, especially like plastics, phthalates and BPA are big hormone endocrine disruptors. And, we need to be careful of these, and they accumulate, they bioaccumulate, and, it's just basically just not possible to live in the 21st century and not accumulate these toxins. I mean, even if you're living in the remote wilderness somewhere, you're still likely getting them. It's certainly much less, but even Roundup, I mean, they're spraying 5 billion pounds a year. So it evaporates, goes into the clouds, and it rains down, just like mercury rains down that was released into the atmosphere from burning coal, which was the primary producer of electricity. So, and then, so many people are unaware of the fact that these fire retardants, the PBDEs, that are inserted into used to protect the furniture and bedding material from going up, but they don't work, and B, they're toxic as heck. And this is why a lot of firemen are like dying, because the fires, these things volatilize and they're breathing it in. But it's really, the exposure to these things are something that needs to be avoided, and you need a practical strategy. And the first thing is really to address the EMF, because if you don't, then it tends to essentially, a simple analogy, it forms this protective shield around it, which makes it really challenging to remove those toxins from your body. And I applaud you for your work in putting together a really effective analytical program where you're identifying the toxins and then going in there and targeting them. And the challenge is, of course, it's not an easy thing, and you need to do it. Detoxification is a complex and committed process. It's not something that you do, willy-nilly, and you just swallow a pill and you think you're done. It's a significant investment of time and resources, but it's something I recognize as an important component and integrate into my lifestyle, and plan on doing it indefinitely. So, a big part of that is the sauna, the infrared sauna, and the near infrared would be, adding to that would be even better. And I add ozone, and and I think when you're dressed EMF and you're burning fat for fuel, then you're and you're using NES. I mean, it's like really the ideal circumstances to help your body eliminate these things. So, and I think you're relatively recently, less than a year into the nest, so you haven't had the opportunity to observe clinically the benefits of this. But I'm pretty confident that as you accumulate your data, you're going to see. You're going to be able to document this, and that's what we need. People who are collecting the data and doing the measurements in the field to see the dramatic differences from those who are using this and those who aren't. But my prediction is, I'm pretty confident you're going to find that there's really significant improvements.
Yeah, I'm actually finding that already. I've done thousands of hair mineral analyses prior to using NES, and we've only had, maybe about 20 hair tests from people that were using NES prior, or not using NES, and then we do hair tests after they're using NES Health, and the elimination of metals is so much more dramatic.
Yeah, it was exactly what you'd predict.
Exactly.
Based on the science of what we know of how the system works.
Just that it gets their body working better alone. It gets their body, their detox organs working better, and gives them a little bit of EMF protection. That it gets in that facet, it gets the body working much better and detoxing so much better. And so you had mentioned at one point that you felt that you were immune to toxins, that you felt like you were so healthy that you maybe didn't feel like you needed to detox. And what changed your mind?
Well, I don't think I used the word immune. I think I used the term arrogantly ignorant.
Okay, not immune to toxins, but you just felt like you didn't need to.
Yeah, I was basically foolishly naive to believe that, especially specifically with EMF. And it gave me some health challenges I hadn't anticipated. So that was one for sure. But it's just the proof. It's easy, maybe not inexpensive, but it's easy to do the test yourself and see if you have these. So it's not like it's pretty. You can read it in black and white what the numbers are. So. I had engaged in detox programs before and thought it was but it's an ongoing process. It's something that unfortunately, unless you want to get into a time machine and go backwards, we're going to engage in it on a regular basis because it's just we live in the 21st century.
Yeah, and so you've done some metals tests with me. You've done a hair mineral analysis and a urine and stool test. Were you surprised by the results?
Not really, because I think I was using NES for a short time before we did the test. So that could be part of it. I've done these analysis before in the past, and I know that there's a process where you're excreting them. And evaluation of hair mineral analysis can be really quite complex. It's not super. You just don't read it without some deep understanding, because what looks like to be one thing is going to be the exact opposite. So you could be excreting a lot and think that you're toxic when actually that's a good sign, or you could have nothing in there that means you're even more toxic. So I wasn't surprised. I guess I was a little surprised I had so many different ones. Almost all the ones, fortunately most of them are the ones that BioSil seems to hit, so. Yeah. And a few others, but so I'm really excited. I know it's a long-term process. It's like a few years. It might be less with Nest. You don't have the experience to see that, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Nest cut it down by 50%.
Yeah, I believe so too. I've been detoxing for about 5 years, and I still have metals coming out. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again: detox is a lifestyle. It's a long-term process. And even if you do a detox program for a few years, you still have to kind of fight the good fight with all the new toxins that you're exposed to every day in the air and water.
And fortunately, some of these practices, like the infrared sauna, there are studies that have been pretty well proving that people who engage in this as a healthy lifestyle, and they have been doing this in the Netherlands, is it Norway or Finland? Maybe I think it was Finland. And where they published these studies that showed that a significant reduction in all-cause mortality and heart disease and it went up. They divided the groups into those who did sauna 2 or 3 times a week, and those who did it every day.
Yeah.
And the people who did it every day, the people who did it 2-3 times a week got a 25% reduction in heart disease, and the ones who did it 7 days a week had a 50% reduction. It's like crazy. It was almost as much benefit as optimal vitamin D exposures or healthy vitamin D levels through optimal sun exposure, which was surprising. There's a 50% reduction in cancer. I don't know if people are aware of that, but I mean, not swallowing the capsules, but actually getting the ultraviolet B radiation from the sun to optimize your vitamin D levels, your risk of cancer goes down by 50%, which is crazy. I mean, why, but I don't think it's widely known. But it's not surprising once you understand the way the body works. Once you give it what it needs, you just get healthy.
I love that study that you sent me from Finland that showed that, some people can use it a couple times a week and not have nearly the benefits as someone that uses it, 4, 5, 6 days a week. It's just radically and market improvement.
And in Finland, the study that I sent you, they were using the traditional sauna, which I don't think is as effective as the infrared sauna.
No, not nearly as often.
So I think we're going to see even additional benefits. I mean, obviously you get infrared in a sauna because that's what heat is infrared rays. But but I don't think that they, I haven't seen a study that addresses the frequencies of what comes off of a typical conventional Finnish sauna. But I don't think there's hardly any near infrared. If there were, you would almost see it because you can see that red and stuff.
How often do you use a sauna, and what type of sauna do you use?
I pretty much use a sauna every day. Well, I cut it down because it's a balance thing. I do it the first thing in the morning. So, and I do my strength training twice a week. So rather than get up earlier to do the sauna, I've decided to sleep in more and give myself more sleep. So 2 days a week I don't do it, and I think it's good. I'm just taking a break on it. But when I'm home, it's pretty much 5 days a week now. And unless I get up really early for some reason, then I've got enough time to do it. And I use it with ozone. It's a tent sauna, so I keep my head out of it, which allows me to do. You could use ozone in a regular sauna. Be hard. You'd have to wear a mask, and it'd be a bit cumbersome. To bring the ozone to bring the oxygen that you would breathe in through a mask, because you can't be breathing in ozone. It's toxic. It's great for your body, but every tissue of your body except for your lungs. Your lungs do not like it. So I use it with the ozone, and I typically use far infrared, and I use the Juve light before for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So it's a pre-sauna treatment, which is red and near infrared. So it's 660 and 850 nanometer wavelengths. And then I go jump in the pool, and in the summer it's nice and relaxing. It's in the 80s, but in the winter I don't heat my pool, so it will go down. It would be rare where it's ever in the 70s, and it's more typically in the 60s and 50s, and occasionally in the 40s. And so I get a little dose of cold thermogenesis, which is amazingly refreshing. I mean, it definitely hurts initially, and you have to build up a tolerance to it. And once you get your brown adipose tissue built up, it's really very, very good, and it builds up your dopamine levels. I love it. I really do. And I would use it every day if I had the access. I don't think you have to go down into ice baths and get it down to the 30s. 50, 60, low 60s is probably good enough for most people. And if you want to go challenging, 50s and even the high 40s. But you feel so good when you get out. Have you ever done?
Yeah, I've done cryotherapy.
No, I'm talking about swimming in a pool for 15, 20 minutes.
I have not. I did go get a bunch of ice from my freezer and put it in a bathtub.
That's too cold.
But it wasn't too much ice. It was just enough to do the cold bath for about 10 or 15 minutes. And it does feel really nice.
When you get out. But when you're in a bath, you're not moving. But when you're swimming, it's a whole different story. So there are probably, because it gets cold in California.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've definitely lived at the beach and gone swimming in the ocean.
Yeah, it's right. Even in the summer, that water doesn't ever get much over 60, does it?
No. Well, it does in the summer. It gets about 72.
Oh, 72, okay. So a good portion of the year, you can just jump in the ocean. You're fine.
Oh, yes.
You'll get because you don't want to have to pay to do cold thermogenesis. You should be able to get it from nature.
Yeah.
That's my viewpoint.
My policy is I don't pay anymore. I don't pay to torture myself in cryotherapy.
I've never done it. I have no desire to do it. I just like to do it naturally. And for those who wanted to try that, you can easily do cold showers. But I live in Florida, so it's hard to get cold water in the winter. In the summer from the waters, the municipal waters. It's in the 70s. You can't get cold water in the shower.
Are there any other detox methods that you really like to engage in?
Um,
Coffee enemas, per se?
well, I'm looking at coffee enemas. I've never done it for a number of reasons.
I might be able to convince you to try
Yeah,
one.
I think I'm not dismissing.
No.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the concept, and I believe that it works. It's just I've had some personal challenges in implementing it, but I'd consider it. And I think that the infrared sauna is and ozone, which is my new addition, and using the ozone with the molecular hydrogen tablets, to get that pulse source of hydrogen gas into my system to mitigate the downside excess free radicals that are possible with excessive ozone exposure.
Well, what is your experience with an ion cleanse foot bath?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm doing the ion cleanse foot bath. Thank you for reminding me. I was the one who introduced you. Well, you knew about it, but I was able to facilitate.
Yeah, you got me to get one so I could actually use one myself.
So it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I'm just doing it on theory. I was at a lecture with Dietrich Klinghardt earlier this year, and he presented some compelling evidence to suggest that it works. It doesn't work by releasing the metals in the foot bath, that when the water turns dark, that's just a reaction with the catalyst and the electrode that you put in there. They actually excrete in your urine like several days later, so you still need to take binders throughout the whole time. I only do that twice a week. And I do that, and I pulse it with, pulsing is really another important principle, which is probably a good idea for me not to do this on every day, even though this Finnish study was pretty impressive. I'm fine with doing it 5 days a week. So I use the cytodetox, which is a form of the what is
The zeolite.
zeolites? Yes, it's ionized zeolites, so it's really small particle sizes and supposedly has some really beneficial benefits at removing some of these toxins. More of a chelator than a binder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you to take some Pectosol C and some
yes.
BioSil as well, right?
Oh yeah, I'm on the whole program. I do them every day, Biosol and Pectosol C. I love them. But if you're going to do Pectosol C, you got to use the lime. You got to use the lime.
It's the margarita flavor.
Oh man, it's just the other one is just you can get bound. It's not bad taste. It's just so bland. It's just like it's hard to get down. But the lime is like this treat you look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's very important to take a binder when you're doing any kind of detoxification.
I do chlorella for a binder too. I do that
Yes.
pretty much every day. I do 8, the tiny tablets. I do like 8 3 times a day.
Yes, that's excellent as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good to take binder if you're doing any kind of detoxification, any kind of infrared sauna or ion cleanse foot bath. A lot of people make the mistake of doing detoxification, mobilizing toxins from storage sites like fat, tissue, bone, and then not taking a binder to absorb them.
Yeah. Now you do, another part of that too is I jump in the pool like right after I'm out of the sauna. So, because you mobilize them through your sweat, and the last thing you want to do is stop sweating and then go right back in your skin. So you want to wash it off. You could do it in showers, same thing.
So your pool is really toxic?
I got a good filtration, and there's ozone in the pool too.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so the ozone, it's a benefit of using ozone in a sauna too, because obviously these toxins come out and go in your sauna, and you have if you're not disinfecting it in some way, you have a very dirty sauna.
Yeah.
And really, I think you should not share your sauna with anyone unless you're disinfecting it. So or like using ozone, because they'll absorb the toxins you're excreting, or converse.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that before.
Oh yes, it was a big issue. I interviewed Dr. George Yu, who is I think he's a neurosurgeon out of Bethesda, Maryland, and he treated a lot of the firefighters from 9/11, and I mean they had loads of incredible toxins because they're all volatilized when the buildings went down, and they were really sick. And they would have to clean the sauna with ozone after every treatment. So many of the toxins were coming out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what would your advice be to anyone that maybe hasn't started a detoxification program, but they're concerned about their health?
Well, I think you got to get your food choices down correctly, because that'll facilitate. So I do that. I would definitely look at your EMF and get that thing addressed. But hopefully you'll be doing that in your program too, addressing the EMF. But I think you need to consult with some type of professional, because even healthcare professionals, you know, they really, most are not, we're not all trained in this, and no one's hardly trained in this. And, you know, you've put together a group of clinicians who have the knowledge and the tools to kind of guide people through the process and to customize the program from them. So I think that would be a wise strategy to embrace if you're looking at long-term health, if you optimize your health or address a current health challenge. I think it would be crazy not to do that.
That's a really good point that you made, that a lot of physicians and health practitioners and all kinds of medical professionals are not trained in detoxification.
No, it's definitely not taught in the curriculum. You'd have to get postgraduate training and expertise. And I was doing some of that when I was practicing, but you know, you've got to do it regularly and stay current. Otherwise, it's just, there's too much advances, like in any discipline, not just health. But
and I think there's a myopia as well in physicians that do detoxification may only do chelation therapy. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on IV chelation therapy?
I actually did IV chelation therapy, EDTA, and usually taught by ACAM, American College for the Advancement of Medicine. And there's not many doctors that do it. It's just probably a few hundred. And I think can be effective. I mean, theoretically, the only thing it's supposed to take out is lead, maybe cadmium. And that's an important one for sure. But I stopped doing it after a while. I mean, I still engaged in many of the IV practices. I thought they were useful, like IV vitamin C or IV magnesium, probably IV ozone now too. But you know, you got to address the foundational basics. And I'm not, there's, you know, from what I know now, and it's what I suspected back then, is that's not really an effective detoxification strategy. It's really targeted more, even in the courses they teach, to remove the calcium out of the arteries to open up the issues for coronary arteries. And I think there's actually better strategies, like something that's called ERCP or ECP, extracorporeal pulsation, where you're hooked up to these bladders that are very large on your thighs and your calves and your pelvis, and EKG electrodes that sense your rhythm so that they pulsate with your cardiac rhythm and essentially augment the flow during diastole so that it could massively increase new blood vessel growth into hearts and essentially basically give you a bypass without doing a bypass.
Dr. Whitaker in Newport Beach does that.
Oh yeah, it's great. ECP is great. I think it's an extraordinary. So I think that would be better, easier than chelation, IV chelation therapy. I mean, you can use them both, and some people do, but I think that's all you need is ECP. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of that. But I don't think that IV chelation with EDTA is an effective detox for anything other than lead or cadmium.
Yeah, I think it'd be really hard on the kidneys. I mean, we do know that you know, DMSA and EDTA chelation do remove metals from your body, but at what cost?
Yeah,
at what cost?
Yeah, there was a big and DMPS.
Yeah,
you know, I was involved in that too, and then doing even some of the chelation challenges, which you do a DMSA chelation challenge for the diagnostic component, but it's done with binders, so it's safe, and you're only doing it once. But to do that regularly, I think you have to be careful. And I know there was some real. This is when I was doing chelation back then in the '90s. There was a lot of controversy about IV DMPS. It kind of preceded your time, but it was. I don't know if you heard the stories, but.
Yeah, we know it's one of the most effective chelation agents. It gets the most range of metals, but it's problematic doing it IV.
Yeah. So I think I even did it a number of times. I might have even done it personally, but I don't remember. So many years ago.
Well, we will get you thoroughly detoxed.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. And you know, and I feel real confident they have a really good strategy now. I'm really. You know, putting everything together, all the pieces. It's like life's a journey. You know, you figure it out as you go on. But yeah, the diet, the exercise, the movement, the photobiology. You know, put it all together, and the detox.
Yeah, and then you have
NES.
Yeah, and your NES. You have the bioenergetic component.
Yeah.
And then I think that's a flawless. Well-rounded.
It may not be flawless, but it's certainly really good.
Well, maybe well-rounded.
It's one of the most effective strategies I know at this time.
Yeah, it has all the components that you need.
Yeah, I think so.
For health. Well, Dr. Mercola, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Wendy, for all your help. You're really providing so much benefit to so many people. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. And I've admired your work for so long, and reading on your site and so many insights that surprised me and just really blew my mind. It got me so interested and passionate about health. You really lit that spark in
Well,
me
good.
to learn more about health, because I had always read about conventional mainstream medical breakthroughs and reading Scientific American, the latest drugs.
Yeah.
But when my father died of cancer, and I was, reading, I've been reading on your website for years about, natural ways to address your health and the dangers of a lot of drugs that are routinely given to millions of people. You really helped me get much more passionate and
Well,
focused
good.
about how I wanted to help other people as well.
Yeah,
So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. But that was by design. That was our intention to,
Yeah.
really catalyze a transformation in the system that's killing so many people needlessly. And it's almost by design. It's like that. I'm not suggesting that they're trying to depopulate the world, but their focus is really on generating income and really at the sacrifice of so many people who have to suffer and die. And I believe there's really no need for it. So, but you can provide and share the information, but sometimes you have to listen to it and you have to apply it. And I've been very impressed with your ability to do both of those things. So,
Oh,
congratulations.
Thank you.